I've been a member of the High Plains Barbershop Chorus almost 5 years now.
I think I first started with the High Plains Chorus in 71.
I've been a member almost 53 years.
Been in the since the beginning of 1968 when it was chartered. So.
It's an entirely unique and American style of singing.
And also it's just doing things with other people together as four parts and everybody fits together.
We love what we do. We love each other. We're a brotherhood. We love to perform.
Singing. It's close-knit harmony. It's a blast and a ton of fun.
It's great to be a barbershopper.
What's it great to be, Caden?
It's great to be a barbershopper.
We need more enthusiasm, Caden.
It's great to be a barbershopper.
Hello, everyone. This is Justin at Seeking Context here with my producer, Caden Runnels. We're saying a shout out to Hays, Kansas and Colby, Kansas, where the High Plains Chorus and the Tumbleweed Barbershop Chorus are the subject of today's episode. And Caden, tell me, yesterday you mentioned, as we're finishing up this episode, that you had some skepticism about this content a few months ago when we started.
I did. Well, a few months ago, you called me and you said, I have this great idea. It's going to be awesome. We're going to interview a bunch of guys who sing in a barbershop group, and then we're going to interview them for a few hours, and we're going to make that into an entire special. And I was like, wow, this is going to be super interesting. But once we got into it, I started watching all the interviews, putting it all together. You gave me a script, and it turned out really, really good. This could be one of our most interesting episodes we've ever made or produced.
Yeah, and if you stick around for the next 30 minutes, you're going to find out why the world of barbershop really is an interesting place and how much these guys care about each other and how much enthusiasm they have for the art form. And so before we start, though, before we get into the meat of the episode, Caden, if you'll let everybody know how they can support the show and find additional content on some of these interviews that we did over the last few months.
Of course. If you're seeking more content, a best way to get more of that is to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. We're also live streaming there. Or if you would like to give some kind of small monetary donation, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee at seekingcontext.com, where if you give a small donation, it can be as small as a single dollar, you will get access to full interviews from everyone in this interview, which would include how many people, Justin?
Well, we got 5 people. We got Don Barber, the president of the High Plains Chorus, and Don Urban, who directed it for many years, Thomas Annis, who's the director of the Tumbleweed Chorus, and Max Beffert, who is the director of the High Plains Chorus, and Gerald Armbruster, who is the longest-serving member and has been with the group since it started in '68. So we've got the full interview with all 5 of those guys. And so it's pretty interesting if you've got the time and you want to get more background on their life and their history and what really brought them to this world and what I think you'll enjoy.
Each one of those episodes or each one of those interviews is about an hour in total. So you're getting a lot of content out of just a single dollar if you would like to get it out. And we'd really appreciate anything that you guys would be willing to give us. If that's just a like on this Facebook live stream, that would mean the world to us. So thank you for supporting us.
All right. So without further ado, we're going to give you the sound celebration with the High Plains Chorus and the Tumbleweed Chorus in Hays, Kansas and Colby, Kansas. And let me pull up the full special here. And Caden and I will be back to banter about the episode a little bit when it finishes. But please enjoy, and we'll see you all shortly.
On April 2nd, the High Plains Chorus held their first barbershop concert in over 2 years, opening the show with Sound Celebration. Joining the celebration was a headline quartet called Midtown.
Hello, Hays, Kansas. How is everyone doing tonight? Rock
Midtown wowed the audience with numbers such as Spider-Man and Hollywood.
Spider-Man is Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, wealth and fame. Yeah, he's ignored, action is his reward. What did I make it today? I don't know, I'll be there. Hollywood, I know I can. Here I am. Yes, Hollywood, here.
Prairie Timber, one of 3 local quartets from the High Plains Chorus, entertained the crowd with numbers such as Why Don't We Just Dance?
Bouncing off the wall, floating on air, baby. Why don't we just dance?
To prepare for this annual concert, the chorus meets for rehearsal and fellowship for 2 hours every Thursday night.
Side by side, through all kinds of weather. What if
And the group has carried on this tradition through all kinds of weather for more than 50 years.
it doesn't matter at all? When they've all had the quarrels and
As president of the Hayes chapter, Don Barber has been involved in barbershop music since the group was first formed.
Yeah, I'm Don Barber, and I am the president and delegate of the Hayes High Plains Barbershop chapter. I've been a member almost 53 years. We started our chorus in 1967, and I became a member in 1968, and then I dropped out a year, and then I came back, and so I'm going on 53 years as a barbershopper in our chorus, in our chapter.
While that's a long tenure, Don notes that another member holds the group's record for continuous attendance.
Yes, Gerald Armbruster from Waukene. He's been a year longer member than I. He's 54, going on 55 years. So,
At 91 years old, Gerald Armbruster holds the group's attendance record, rehearsing and performing for the past 54 years consecutively.
Gerald Armbruster, Senior, there is another one, been in the since the beginning of 1968 when it was chartered. 54, 55 years or whatever, something like that. My idea, I had a good friend that we called him Stoney.
Okay.
And I don't know, we somehow got acquainted, and he sang, and he was a member of the Methodist Church, and I was a member of the Lutheran Church, and he was a singer and I was a singer, and someone had recruited him sometime with the barbershoppers he had, and he asked me, he said, about singing. I said, well, yeah, why not?
Longtime member and former director Don Urban didn't join until 3 years after Don Barber and Gerald Armbruster.
Okay, my name is Don Urban, and I think I first started with the High Plains Chorus in 71, started directing in 76 from Reverend Jim Williams, who directed before. And so he was a minister, and he had moved away not too far long after I started directing too. I was like assistant director.
Don directed the High Plains Chorus for the next 42 years until a cardiac health problem interrupted his tenure.
Where the doctor sent me down to Kansas City, at KU Med, put me on the watch for a heart. And 6 months later, on my birthday, they called me up on that early Sunday morning, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, said, come on down. Got a match for you if you want it. So I went on down. I drove most of the way. My oldest son went with us. And so that was the end of my, very abruptly, that was the end of my directing at the chapter.
When Don took off time for his heart transplant, the chorus reached out to a much younger member of the Hayes community for leadership.
I actually started as the director of this group as a junior in college. Started back in 2017, so first show was our 50th anniversary, and jumped right into that as a fresh director for that, a 50-year anniversary show. It was a great time, great memories. It was a really incredible experience.
Max Beffert continues to direct the High Plains Chorus today, and this year, 2022, the group decided to join forces with the Tumbleweed Barbershop Chorus in Colby, Kansas. Tumbleweed director Thomas Annis describes how he got involved in the world of barbershop.
Well, my name is Thomas Annis. I was born and raised here in Oakley, and my wife Susie and I have two children, Eric and Josiah. Eric was in 3rd grade in 2011, and at his Christmas concert, I could hear him singing on the stage amongst all of the students, and I thought to myself, Thomas, you really need to be singing with your son, because I had the opportunity to sing with my mother and my brother and singing quartets and stuff like that. And a friend of mine, John Collette, who's in the group, and Bob Renner, who used to be in the group, encouraged me to come over and sing with the Tumbleweed Chorus. Well, so December of 2011, we went over and joined the group, and then we sang on the first show that we sang on was in 2012. And
So
Eric was a 3rd grader at that point, and he was 9 years old.
Thomas and his son Eric continued participating in the Tumbleweed Chorus until Eric enrolled in college at Kansas State this year.
Yeah, Eric is a 10-year member. I'm a 12-year. Well, I guess Eric is now an 11-year member. I'm now a 12-year member.
While a modest drop in membership brought about by the pandemic led the Tumbleweed and High Plains choruses to join forces this year, Don Barber recalls the popularity of Barbershop over the years.
You know, at one time we had a 45-man chapter.
Wow.
Some people passed, some people moved, some people left. But back then, we had a guy from Dighton, that's 90 miles, drive every Thursday night. We had people from Ness City, all the other towns I named earlier. And so we still do have a lot of the guys. We have guys, let me put it this way. We have guys coming in every Thursday night from nine counties in Kansas.
And going back to 1967, Don recalls how the High Plains Chorus came into existence.
There was a gentleman here in Hayes by the name of Jim Nugent. He was a housing director at Fort Hays State, and he came from Boulder, Colorado. And he was a barbershopper out there, and we had no barbershop, never heard of it hardly till he came to town. And he met with, I wasn't one of them, he met with four different, he was including in the fourth, he met on the church steps of, I think, St. Joe Catholic Church. There was only 4 of them that started talking about it. And they just decided, well, you know, that probably would be fun, you know. So they started promoting it and in the neighborhood in the area. Yeah, I had a friend that was the circulation manager at the Hayes Daily News, and he invited me. I cut his hair, and so I went. One rehearsal, I thought, hey, you know, I didn't know anything, you know, I'll just get up there and sing watermelon, 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 you know, because I didn't know the music, but I liked what I was hearing. I liked the harmony. And so that hooked me. And so but when I come on board was in 68, and we had our first show then. And I'll never forget, we had it at a Thomas More Prep auditorium, and we hired a district quartet and just sold tickets. We just sold tickets, or we got in over our head a little bit with paying for this district quartet to come out. And so we each had to dig in our pocket for $20 to just break even. But that was the beginning of our wonderful organization here in Hayes.
In addition to the full chorus, smaller quartets would often perform at rehearsals and shows. One quartet in particular gave Gerald Armbruster the bug for Barbershop when he first attended a rehearsal.
It happened that they had a quartet that performed for us, and I happened to be standing beside them and listening, and when they all got everything right, just right, they produced the overtone, which is an octave above anything that anyone is singing. The first time I heard that chord, I think, God, I got to do that.
Thomas Annis describes what an overtone is, what makes it so unique, and why people are drawn to other aspects of barbershop music.
One special thing is something called an overtone.
Yeah.
An overtone is when you have 4 notes being sung, and you're hearing a note clear up here. It's just not being sung, but you can hear it clear as a bell. But barbershop also allows you the opportunity to use expression, tell a story with the song, and engage the audience and just have a lot of fun entertaining.
Right.
And so I've just fallen in love with the craft.
And
Longtime High Plains Chorus director Don Urban recalls how he got recruited to the group when he was a young music teacher in the 1970s, and how the social aspects of Barbershop kept him coming back through the years.
Like I said, I did my student teaching under this man, and he was the director at that time. And, you know, he invited me along, and I didn't know anything about it, but I went, and I just kind of liked it.
You were teaching at the time?
I was teaching music. I was teaching
K-12 or?
Yeah, I taught K through 12 and band and vocal and so forth. And it wasn't long, and I kind of got drafted as a director after that, and I've enjoyed the guys, and you know, and there have been several of them that we were good friends with. It might be afterwards we go out and have a beer or something, and there was a quartet with guys, and it was just the city manager Walkini was very interesting. The agriculture director of Ellis County was another guy who was in that quartet, Virgil Quint and Dick Courtney. It was the other guy, and Gerald Armbruster and Don Barber. How could you not enjoy those guys? So it's really amazing. It gets in your blood, and you do like it. It's a camaraderie of it, and also it's just doing things with other people. Together as four parts, and everybody fits together. And it really gets to be interesting for most people.
When Don Urban had to step down for his heart transplant, Don Barber recalls how the group discovered and recruited Max Beffert to be their new director.
To make a long story short, we used to have an organization called a Full Court Press, where one of our teachers at middle school would start these kids coming in an hour early before school just to sing a cappella. And he moved to the high school, and he retired since, but his name was Johnny Matlock. He was an excellent musician and a coach and teacher. But anyway, we got Max out of this Full Court Press. When he sang with us, he was just a little guy, and he went on up, and he got a college degree at Fort Hays a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And he just stayed a barbershopper. He loves to direct, and we love him. He's just excellent.
I was assisting my former teacher out at the local high school here in Hayes, and with a group of 6th grade through 12th grade boys. It was all male singing. They were featured on the show called Full Court Press. I was in it from the time it started back in 2008 up until 2019 when I had graduated from college. I was still working and being assistant director out there, and they had seen me conduct on the show because my teacher, he was doing contest, so he couldn't be there, but I knew the show, I knew the songs, and I rehearsed it and performed it, and the barbershoppers had seen it, and they had talked to their MC, who was my professor, and got them my contact information, and I've been there ever since.
Max describes the enjoyment of directing the High Plains Chorus and how the experience differs from his role as a high school music teacher.
It's kind of singing and rehearsing with them. It's like a bunch of brothers. I never had a brother. I always had a sister, but it's like being with people, with musicians that are of all ages. You kind of know where you're going, and having strong leaders within each section, it makes it a blast and a joy because they pick up on things quicker in some aspects, and versus younger students, you have to spend more time and attention here in certain places to build up the foundation, whereas working with an older group, the foundation is there. You may have to do some polishing and some tweaking to it, but it's so much fun to work with them. It's a true blast. I look forward to it every week.
Yeah.
It's camaraderie, it's fellowship, it's brotherhood. I mean, we joke around, we have fun in the ensemble, we poke fun at all the sections, we joke at, we can't hear the baritones enough. We joke and say, are the tenors really singing the right note, or are they singing whatever they want? Newsflash, they sometimes are. But we joke around a lot. It's fun for all ages. It's an entirely unique and American style of singing that isn't found really anywhere else. It started here, and it's a legacy that's been built, and it's carried across the world. So it's a really unique style of singing. It's close-knit harmony. It's a blast and a ton of fun.
Part of the fun of Barbershop is the opportunity to participate in a quartet for those that are interested. For many years, Don Barber and Gerald Armbruster were part of a quartet called the Fundamentals.
No, we were a registered chapter quartet. We were called the Fundamentals, and we never went all over the world, but we traveled all over Ellis County, Trigo County. You know, we've been to Kansas City, Wichita,
Mhm.
some of our bigger performances, and yeah, we don't travel like the international champion big boys all over the world, but we travel different states: Colorado, Nebraska, Missouri. You know, like I say, we've been in Kansas City, Hutchinson, Wichita. And so we indeed did some traveling. Yeah.
And one of the more memorable Fundamentals performances was an all-day 4th of July affair in Colorado.
Thing started on the 4th of July. So we get out there and we spend the night and we get up 4th of July morning and the temperature's 34 degrees. and we get on a truck and we sing for a half hour and walk through the parade, and then we get off of the truck and we get warmed back up, and then every 15-20 minutes out of an hour we would sing for, get out and walk around, and in the business we would sing. We did that all morning, all afternoon. In the evening, when the business was all closed, we started circling around the business district, and we would walk into a place, and if they had a paid performers on the stage, they took them off and put us on.
When barbershoppers get together at conventions or run into each other out in the world, they often make music together with a universally known songbook called the Barbershop Polecat.
And it's a songbook with about maybe 12, 14 songs in it. And these are songs that probably every barbershopper that's been in at any length of time know. That's how we learned how to sing. They were very simple songs to learn, not the real hard kind that some of them we do now. But and you could go to a convention wherever and let's sing My Wild Irish Rose, or something like that, and everybody'd know it. Somebody would say, "Oh, I know that one. Can I sing with you?" And so that was a thought of the society, is to get, and that's been since I've been a member. The Polecat program started way back then, and it was just to make new people, new members, more comfortable. If they could step into a quartet with three guys that knew the songs and they do it a little bit, they at least had heard it and had sung it, And so it is just to get guys together more and in song.
For Tumbleweed Chorus director Thomas, one of the more memorable experiences he recalls is singing with other barbershoppers in an annual Bike Across Kansas event.
We started a group called BAK Spokesman, and they've been active 2013 through 2019 in biking across Kansas. And we get together and rehearse every night. But we would just get together and start singing. And the songs that we were singing were the Barber Polecat songs. It's a group of about 12 songs in a book that are easy to sing, but it also invites someone in to sing and enjoy. So I would be singing with a group of 4. Someone would walk by and stand there. I said, "Would you like to join us?" I say, "Here's a book if you'd like to sing with us." Sure. And I'd have several people come, both guys and gals. And so we created this group called BAK Spokesman. And with that, we also had the opportunity, part of biking across Kansas is they not only bike across Kansas, but they also visit small communities across the state. And at 2 of those communities across the state, they go visit nursing homes and give a presentation. And when we come, the faces of the residents in those nursing homes, they always light up. A lot of times you will have an old barbershopper, either be Sweet Adeline or their father was a barbershopper or somebody else, and they'll be singing along with us.
Singing for nursing homes and other events has kept the Hayes Chorus active in the community through the years.
And we do sing for organizations, and that's a nice thing about it. A nice thing about it that we used to do, but the college took it over in Hayes, is we used to sing for on Valentine's Day and around Valentine's Day, and people would have us sing for, sing a couple songs, "I Love You Truly," and simple songs like that, to their spouse or their girlfriend or whoever it was. And that was always a lot of fun.
While the High Plains Chorus obviously likes to have fun, they also want to entertain to the best of their abilities, and the group's leadership takes clear steps to ensure a polished performance.
Well, the first thing, of course, is everybody's got to learn their notes. Everybody's got to learn their words. Really, to do the interpretation of it, you have to know that pretty much inside out. And that's hard to do with a lot of songs with a lot of the guys, because they are not musicians at all. And, for some of them, they might have tractor noise in their ear all the time. And,
You're supposed to smile, like you're enjoying yourself, and sell yourself to that audience out there. Sell your song you're singing. If you're singing an upbeat song, you better look like you're having fun. If you're singing a ballad, man, you better look serious and like, man, this is the way you're supposed to feel. Get this in your heart, in your mind,
Right.
And that's what you judge on.
At the end of every rehearsal, barbershoppers around the world sing "Keep the Whole World Singing," a tune that captures the heart of the barbershop spirit, staying on pitch, and, as Max Beffert emphasizes, having fun.
Have fun. If you look up there, if you look like you're having fun up there, the audience is going to see your enjoyment, and that's going to be huge for them because they're going to see you're having fun, being involved, being a part of the show, being active in the moment. Paying attention to your director is a big thing too, because I'm a very active director. I move around a lot to try and help bring out the sound and give everything we got. That's our big thing, is we work towards making our louds loud and our softs soft, so that we have a lot of dynamic contrast and variety.
We like to engage and sing. We like to tell the story. Use expression in the face. Have fun. Laugh. I will on stage, without announcing it to anybody, put my arm around the guy next to me, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm giving you a hug." Now, hang on. In my mind, that's what I'm doing, but I'm singing to him, and I'm pantomiming and acting out a song with him. And when you do that on stage, the audience goes to it one. And they just go to it, and they're like, "What's going on there? I want to pay attention." And then they start to smile, they laugh, they engage, and they have fun watching you. Mm-hmm. How many concerts have you been to? And I hate to say this, I hated going to grade school concerts. Yeah, you want to watch the kids, but who are you watching? You're watching the kid that's acting goofy.
Right.
You're watching the kid that's acting goofy. Why? Because you're just drawn to it. Obviously, you want them to sound good, and you want them to succeed. But it's also fun to be entertained.
Yeah.
It is. And so Barbershop really allows you to do both, sound good and entertain with actions.
While barbershoppers keep the world entertained with their toes tapping, they also embrace many pieces of music with deep emotional or spiritual themes. Gerald Armbruster emphasizes the importance of getting in touch with the emotional theme of a song when performing.
You have to feel it yourself. The director can interpret it, but you have to feel what are you really getting across to that group out there? You have, they're right at that time, they're the important ones. You have to get that, whatever that music says, you got to get that across to them.
Words.
Yeah, the
Right.
sentiment and what's this really mean? High school type group, you never know who you're going to touch. You just don't know. And even on a perform at a rest home or you can have people sitting there that there's just nothing that really, there's nothing there. Just a body sitting there.
Right.
No recognition of. But after you sing a while, and all at once you'll see their lips move, or their foot will start to tap, or you're touching something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Right. You connect.
As Don Urban observes, music can bring joy and it can also bring comfort in times of loss. Don's brother Dennis was known for singing throughout his life and sang at many family funerals. When Don's mother passed away, Dennis was unable to sing due to a health complication, so Don's Barbershop family stepped in to honor her memory.
And well, I'll put it this way. When my dad died and when my brother died and when my sister died, Dennis sang I'll Walk with God each time. And the last time he came back, and I know he took some medicine because his heart was probably not hurting him or something. And he didn't die. He probably died, well, maybe 6 months or less after that. But when my mom died, the Barbershoppers at Victoria Church, they sang I'll Walk with God and some other songs. It was a great service, and the Barbershoppers made it great.
Wow.
It was really something else. So that's when my wife died.
Following their spring concert, the High Plains Chorus and family members all gathered for more music and fellowship, singing into the wee hours of the night at an event called the Afterglow, where impromptu groups formed to sing their favorite songs. Quartets performed additional numbers. Chorus sang You've Got a Friend in Me.
You've got a friend in me. You've got troubles. I've got troubles.
And members reflected on the joy of brotherhood and fellowship.
I'd like to say I've started singing with these guys a couple of years ago, and if you don't know these guys, they're amazing. They are the most welcoming group of people I've ever known in my life. It's not a problem to drive up here. It's an absolute privilege and an honor.
And the evening's festivities closed with Midtown singing appropriately from the first hello to the last goodbye.
From the first hello to the last goodbye. It's been awfully nice to know you. So excuse.
That sings with the chorus. We love what we do. We love each other. We're a brotherhood. We love to perform, and that's about the size of it.
It's the camaraderie of the guys that you're with.
I call it therapy. It is therapy because I can have the roughest day. Mm-hmm. I can, and I'm just driving. I'm like going, all I want to do is go to bed. I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to do this, and I go, and I get to laughing with everybody in the group, both the guys and the gals. And I come back with a smile on my heart, and just a song coming out of my mouth because I'm just so happy. Yeah. And I find it truly energizing.
So it's really amazing. It gets in your blood, and you do like it. It's a camaraderie of it, and also it's just doing things with other people. Together as four parts, and everybody fits together.
It's camaraderie. It's fellowship, it's brotherhood. I mean,
it's been a hell of a ride, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's been a hell of a ride, Caden.
It has been. It sure has. Both their journey and our journey getting this episode out.
Yeah, and that's an impressive ending note, isn't it?
It is. It was.
Yeah, those guys. That Midtown. It's midtownquartet.com for anybody that wants to check them out. That amazing group.
They are.
And I see you're dressed up for the show.
I am. Last time, you were in full getup, ready to do a concert. And I felt out of the loop. And this time, I'm all dressed up, and you're just wearing a T-shirt, but it's a very fashionable T-shirt. Where did you get that?
Forward, right?
It is.
Yeah, this is a Midtown Quartet T-shirt. I got this after that show that they had, which was a month ago. Okay, and it was like almost exactly a month ago on Saturday. So,
Oh my gosh.
but yeah, and it was a hell of a ride putting this episode together, right? So tell me about, I mean, I must have sent you 50 videos that you had to stitch together. What was the
It
process like this time?
it was a crazy process because we had so many of those concert videos that were about 7-minute clips, and you would send me the script, and then you would ask for about 10 seconds of that 7-minute video. So I'd download the whole thing, and then I'd take the 10 seconds, put it in, but I just have everything on my computer. And so by the end of it, we had so much source files. It was around 100 gigabytes of just random things that we put into this episode, but I think it all turned out really well and added to it. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
great job. How late were you up last night finishing the final touches?
Last night wasn't that late. It was maybe about 12 o'clock. We had to do one last little edit. One little voice clip was not in the right place, so we did a re-export, put it back into our program, and but we spent a lot of time over, the past month getting these ready. So I
Yeah.
think it all turned out really good.
Yeah, it was a fun story to explore. These guys are great. I was curious. I was going to ask you. You're a performer. You do a lot of plays and things at Butler and elsewhere. Do you find that are you in a community like that where or does it change with every show?
I think you do find that community. Everything they talked about can be applied to every other form of entertainment. Thomas Annis talked about in there, talking about watching little kids at the concert and how there's one that's always distracting. And in the world of theater, that's called the purest intention. And so when you're on stage and you see, someone accidentally push over a flower pot, that's your purest intention. And everything translates from, it's all like they all said, it's performing a story, and with that you bond over a similar interest and you find your family within that. It's crazy how everything translates so seamlessly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, so I also want to let our audience know, if you're in Hayes or you're in Colby, both of these groups are recruiting members. The Hayes High Plains Chorus meets at the Trinity Lutheran Church from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. every Thursday night. And you can just go. You can just go and show up and check it out. People are welcome at rehearsals, and they'll invite you to sing, or you can just watch. And the same thing with the Tumbleweed Chorus. They rehearse from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Thursday nights at the Methodist Church in Colby, Kansas. And I know both of the groups would love to have anyone that is interested in joining, or just interested in coming to check it out. So I definitely wanted to share that with everyone. And then coming up, what you got coming up in your world, Caden? Anything happening in the world of theater? Or
Not really. We have an award ceremony coming up, which I have to do a lot of technical stuff, and I'll be presenting some stuff. But nothing that's a public affair. So
all right,
we're pretty much wrapping up. But how about
Cool.
you? Anything crazy coming on with you guys?
Yeah, well, we got next weekend is another episode of Seeking Context. This time we're going to be coming from San Diego, California, where we have a story about the Jesse Malcolm is the owner and founder of CrossFit 40th, which is a gym that started like about a month after I got to San Diego. They had this tiny little spot in a warehouse, and now they're like the largest gym in the area. And it's a really interesting story about how they sort of hit their stride in the pandemic because of the community that they built, and how everybody supported them, and they sort of came out on top when a lot of other organizations, just didn't make it. It was pretty hard for places, I think gyms and restaurants, everybody struggled. And so anyway, that's going to be a fun story. And I'll be in San Diego. And the interview, I did my interview with Jesse a few weeks ago, actually before we did the Barbershop episode. And so that'll be fun to share with everyone. I'm looking forward to that.
It's these interviews, I feel like they go to these very nice locations, and I think you just make up excuses to go to San Diego. You're gonna in a minute. You're gonna be like, we have an interview lined up for a yacht off the coast of Cyprus. I think it's going to be really good for the podcast, and I'm going to have to take a trip there.
I know. Right now, we need a lot of support. By the way, you shared this earlier, but I'll put it back up. If people want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/seeking context. We'd appreciate any support that you have. At the current moment, you're right. I'm using the show to travel to nice places, but it's Justin's pocketbook that's paying.
That's right. We can't write all your travel expenses off. That's just
Seeking Context
where
is in
you
the
go.
on the finances. We're definitely in the red at the moment. But
So,
we got a
if you would
bright
like to help
future.
us.
This was a fun episode, and great work, by the way, Caden. I know that it was a tremendous amount of effort to put all of that together.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And it wouldn't, you have the grand vision with your scripts that you give me. So obviously couldn't be done without, you pen to paper, writing it all out. So with the grand vision.
And every time I send you a revision, I'm like, Caden's going to quit. He's quitting this job.
That's what keeps it interesting. It keeps me on my toes. I'm ready for it every time.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I thought how this episode evolved too. Like I feel like our first cut was kind of rough, and so there's definitely a lot of stuff that was left on the editing
Cutting
floor.
room floor. That's right.
Cutting room floor.
So if that's a great segue into, if you would like to see some of those things that were left on the cutting room floor, definitely check out our buy us a coffee at Seeking Context, and you can get the full interviews and see what we didn't use in the episodes. There's a lot of good stuff in there that we just didn't have time to use.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was really neat doing these interviews because I was in Gerald Armbruster's home and Thomas Annis's home and Don Barber's home, and they talk about their life, how they got into this, other aspects of their life, how music is important to them in various ways. So they are really interesting interviews. We just didn't feel like a 6-hour episode would gain a lot of traction.
That's right. That's right.
So, and I think that's it for today.
Yes. I think so.
All right. Well, Caden, we'll see you next week from San Diego. And ideally, it'll be about this same time on Sunday at 1 p.m. But sometimes we just have to let the world events control when we are able to go live. But our plan is next Sunday afternoon, we'll have another episode about the CrossFit 40th in San Diego.
I can't wait. It'll be a good one.
All right. Well, it's been a hell of a ride. Thanks for all your work, Caden, and thanks everyone for tuning in. And check out the High Plains Chorus, check out the Tumbleweed Chorus, and check out the Midtown Quartet. All great things in terms of just entertainment or things you can get involved in if you're looking to expand your horizons, even out here in Western Kansas.
That's right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.